Hey everyone, so day 29 of my 30-day ideas challenge, and of course it is the ideas, the downloads, the epiphanies, the awarenesses and the stories that I'm sharing. So I only have one day left after today, and I've actually really liked doing this challenge in a lot of ways. And I must admit, obviously I haven't been doing it every single day, but I did make the commitment to the 30 days and I'm almost there. But where you probably seen the title, it's a deep dive into you. And what I mean by that is it's kind of drawing on some of that Scorpio energy. And it was funny, I was looking at where the planets were and I'm just like, there's got to be some Scorpio energy here, because I always think of Scorpio as like the detective of the zodiac. You know, they like to go really deep. They like to, really kind of find out the deeper, levels of things. So, surface level, that's not for them. Anyway, but there's interestingly, I couldn't really see any Scorpio, but there is a lot of Pisces. And Pisces, as we know, is that very kind of intuitive sign of the zodiac. So anyway, I think it was like when I had a look, it was Pisces, obviously, the sun's in Pisces, but also Mercury and Jupiter and Neptune and everything. So anyway, we're really leaning into that kind of psychic intuitive energy here, But this is interesting, and it was funny. It was something that I've been really pondering the last few days. There was a few things, but they were really deep, and that's why I'm talking about Scorpio here when I said about the depth. And the first thing that I was really kind of pondering and journaling on was, what is my truth? What is my truth? And it's funny, when I ask you that question now, like, what is your truth? And it's funny, I've asked a few different people. I asked my partner and I asked a friend today. And it's interesting. It's like when you ask people, it kind of throws them, because they're like, well, what do you mean? Like, in what context? Give me a couple of examples. And it's funny because a lot of us, it's like, as they always say, a lot of us are on autopilot mode. It's just we're creatures of habit. We kind of don't really think about things because we are on autopilot. So when you actually say to someone, well, what is my truth? It really kind of gets you thinking. And it was funny when I kind of really started delving into that. It was like, well, what is my truth? And to me, it's like, well, what is my truth? It's like, well, okay, so what is true, or what holds true for me? And it was interesting. So I started looking at, different areas of my life. And it was like, for instance, even things like, say, meditation. Meditation as a practice, has really been life-changing for me in so many ways, as someone that's always tended to be more anxious. So, that is my truth, that I wholeheartedly believe in meditation as a practice for myself and for others. And, hence I went and studied it, and I do guided meditations in my group. I meditate every day. So for me, that is my truth, that I, will wholeheartedly, energetically get behind that. Even things like, when people talk about, I don't know, say the importance of drinking water. Yeah, that is my truth. I really do believe that, when you are drinking 2+ liters of good quality water every day, you do look better and you feel better. Everything functions better. We're 70% plus water. So that makes sense. Even things like, sleep. You guys know I wrote a book on sleep. I struggled with sleep for over 10 years. It was a major challenge for me, and it is for a lot of people that I work with. And it's like, that is also my truth, that, that's kind of really the cornerstone to good health in so many ways, and to really having, I guess, more success and more happiness and more abundance in every area of your life. When you're not sleeping great, there tends to be more, obviously there's not the same energy, there's not the same motivation, there's more apathy, all those kind of energies and themes and feelings. So, all of that kind of was things that I was thinking about, okay, yeah. And also, I love learning. Like, to me, it is one of my values that, learning and, self-growth, self-development, self-improvement, all those kind of things. So for me, that's one of my high values. It is, that's part of me and what I hold true to me. So all of those kind of things I was looking at. And then a very similar question that I was kind of thinking about, I was pondering, I was journaling on, was, what do I stand for? And same thing, I posed this question to my partner and this same friend that I was talking to earlier, and I was thinking about it for myself, and it's like, well, what do I stand for? And it was interesting. So when I just touched on, self-development, self-growth, freedom of choice, absolutely. And we know that that's kind of been in the spotlight in the last, 18 months globally, because we haven't, we have to an extent had freedom, but then not to the extent that, there's mandates and things like that are in place. Also, when it comes to education and accessibility to information and resources and tools, I do stand for that. Like, I really do believe. And the thing is, you only have to look around. There is so much information and resources and tools out there. So I do definitely stand for that information education is accessible to all. And it is. We live in an information age, the age of Aquarius. It's all about information. So we can access information anywhere at any time, let's face it. Also, I do stand for definitely being present. I think that's so important, and it's so, undervalued, and it's so, it's something that I guess a lot of people, probably aren't necessarily great with, and it's funny, if I'm with someone and all of a sudden they start, looking on their phone while I'm talking to them, I just stop. And they're like, oh yeah, I'm listening. And I'm like, well, no, like, I just sort of feel that that's kind of something I really do stand for. If you're with someone, you are present with them. You're not just kind of half in and kind of, yeah, because I feel that is very rude and very disrespectful. So, energetically, I'm very in tune with all of that. So I feel it. And I know that, that's what I want to do the same for other people. Give them that respect, that courtesy, that, that being seen, that being heard, all of that sort of stuff. Also it's like I stand for, I'm against animal cruelty. So I can't stand, like that trophy hunting. I can't stand, animal cruelty when it comes to beauty products and all of that sort of stuff. I'm very anti that. And I mean, I do regularly sort of donate to, the RSPCA and different charities like that. I'm pro supplementation, absolutely. You guys know I've been taking supplements personally for about 20 years. I've been in this industry since 2006, 2007. And, it's something that I do sort of stand for. I do believe, of course, it is a supplement. It's supplementing what you do with your diet. But I'm definitely sort of, that is something that I feel okay with, I feel in alignment with. Whereas, I remember years and years ago, there was a job opportunity that came up at British American Tobacco. I couldn't work there. It was like ethically, morally, in every way, shape and form, it didn't sit well with me. So I thought, I'm not going to do it. Like, people would be, there was other people that were like, oh, it's a good opportunity. It's a big company, good growth and prospects and all of that. It's like, nah, it doesn't interest me. It's just, I couldn't do that. But it's interesting, so all of these things I stand for, like honesty, authenticity, transparency. I think it's important, especially when it comes to like, products and food and labeling and messaging and things like that. Definitely I do stand for, like taking responsibility for self, like self-empowerment, self-sourcing, but also that selflessness, because it's great to sort of be working on ourselves, strengthening ourselves, relying on our, not everyone's relying on ourselves, but, kind of self-sourcing our power in a lot of ways rather than giving it away, which a lot of us have done, I think, and I know I have. That's been the story of my life. Always looking outside myself for all the answers and all the solutions and, for the validation and et cetera, but yeah, there is that point where the selflessness, where it's like, okay, so, what about, family and friends and animals and the environment, things like that. I do definitely stand for, the little things make a difference. The little things add up. So it's like, even though sometimes we kind of think, well, how can one person make a difference? It's like, well, you are part of it. You are part of a neighborhood or a community or a country and, the earth, the world. So it's like these little movements, these little kind of even micro shifts in consciousness all add up. If you're recycling every day, that adds up. If you're, not over consuming food, in the sense that you're not buying all this food and you're just wasting it, which a lot of people do. It's like, that adds up. I just buy what I need. I try not to ever throw things away, and I mean, each week we have like generally one bag of rubbish, it's like, all to me, all those little kind of things will add up over the course of our lifetimes. So I do believe one person can make a massive difference. So all of those things I was really thinking about when it comes to, what do I stand for? What is my truth? So they're kind of questions that I want to pose to you. I want you to start thinking about it. Maybe you want to journal on it. And, it's interesting because when I was thinking about all of this, it's like, well, I think for a lot of people, they don't really question, they don't kind of want to rock the boat. They don't want to create tension. They don't almost want to go there. And it was interesting, this friend that I was talking to earlier when I was saying that, when we were saying what we stand for, and I know she's an avid dog lover like myself, but then when we said about, against animal cruelty, like, of course, we don't like, animals, like being tested on for cosmetics and beauty products and things like that. But yet we're both not vegans. So then it's kind of like, then you almost think, oh, well, hang on, do I actually really stand for that? Because it's almost hypocritical in a way. So, it's like, well, there is different degrees of it as well. So it's kind of, when you really stand for something, are you 100% energetically behind it, or is it, as I said, like with that, you're donating to animal charities and you won't buy products where they're tested on animals and things like that, or are you completely 100% vegan and, you're not even going there. So, there is, as I said, different degrees of it, different levels, different layers, of course. But, going back to this whole, as I said, it's like, a lot of people don't even kind of question this, they just kind of really will continue, going on in the third dimension, in the autopilot mode. And, as Joe Dispenza always says, pretty much by the time you're 35, you are just this habitual set of thoughts and actions and behaviors and responses. We're not really kind of, I guess, necessarily present to what is. Most people are living in the past or they're living in the future. So, of course, that just breeds more of the same, and of course, if what you did yesterday kept you alive, well, let's do more of that. Let's not deviate. Let's not change. And that's where a lot of fears come up around change. So, it's just interesting, as I said, just to kind of really start thinking about, well, what is my truth? What do I stand for? And quite often it is a feeling too. It's like, it's how it makes you feel. So, it's like when we're standing for, some of these things, like, as I said, meditation, well, it calms me, walking in nature, it just grounds me, it nourishes me, so it's like, I can feel that. Whereas there's other things that will really kind of get on my nerves or irritate me or frustrate me. And it's the same with, even at the moment with everything that's going on in the world, it's kind of really hard to know, sometimes, like, well, what is the truth? And you don't really know what to believe. It's like there's different sources, there's different avenues and different channels of information. And, maybe there's different people that you're listening to, and maybe some things they say really resonate and other things don't necessarily. So it does get hard to know, and then, of course, in the whole political scene, it's like there's some people that are just anti a certain political party because their parents have been. It's like not necessarily anything to do with that particular person or that particular party, but it's just that that's the way that the family's always voted. So whatever that party does, they're going to be anti it because it's against what the parents voted for. Do you know what I mean? That sort of thing. So, I guess it's one of those things that's really kind of starting to, I guess, really question and starting to really feel into some of these things. And how does it feel to you? Does it feel light? Does it feel expansive? Or does it feel contracting and, things like that? And also, once again, it's kind of, do you, having discernment, like a healthy level of discernment, in the sense that, as I said, it could be that you are listening to different things, but having the discernment is that actually true? Is that actually true for me? Like, maybe, as I said earlier, that particular source of information, some things resonate with you, but then other things don't. And that's why it's like, it's important to have that, ability to, actually, okay, I'm going to be responsible here. I'm going to take my power back. I'm going to go and research it to the best of my ability. So you can do that. But then, of course, it's also really, starting to strengthen your intuition. And the more that you, strengthen your intuition, you also kind of, there's more of a knowing and more of a trust and a faith in, which direction to go, what to pay your attention to. And of course, it's hard to strengthen that intuition or to hear that kind of intuitive nudge, that intuitive voice, when we are so bombarded by various information sources. So hopefully I haven't confused you too much, but that was kind of the key takeouts for you. It's like, I just want you to really kind of think about that, journal on it maybe, what is my truth? What do I stand for? And even, do you actually take a position or a stance on things, or are you pretty neutral? You don't want to rock the boat. So, because it's like, that's another thing too. It's like quite often people are quite neutral about things. Like they don't, and I mean, I'm like that to a degree myself. You know, I don't really want to get involved in that. I don't want to sort of be publicly out there talking about my position on, you know, vaccination or whatever. You know, it's like there's certain things that I will kind of, my stance and position will be known, and then there's other things where it's like I don't feel that I want to sort of be in that energy, you know, if that makes sense. So anyway, it's just sort of something to think about, something to talk about, and you know, really just once again, it's kind of like having that discernment, tuning in, and kind of allowing yourself to almost have that time where you are, you know, not paying attention to all of the channels of information, but you're actually listening to your own intuition as well, and you know, really kind of strengthening that intuitive muscle. Anyway, so I will love you and leave you. I will see you for day 30, and yeah, have a great night, and yeah, all the best. Bye. Hi, Nat. Bye.